Welcome to the shop. Hope you're having a great day. Well, we're back on the heat treat oven. Looks like I gotta build a chassis for it and wire up a few other things. Are you ready? Here we go. Welcome back. Alright, so I went online, bought a whole bunch of steel, some KO wool, and some angle iron. So the beginning of this video is basically just going to be me cutting this up and welding it together. I'll show you my measurements and stuff, but I think most of the welding is going to be high speed because my welding is ferocious and you don't want to learn welding from me. I'll be straight up with that. So enough talking, let's just get right to it. Alright, before we get on to the build, this is actually a few days later and I had to come back and put this part in because this is very important. Before you build any heat treat oven, you got to know about the elements. Now, on all the previous videos I used to watch and before I built my first oven, all the videos would tell you, oh, the resistance depends on how far apart the coils are, how tight they are, and all this stuff. So I wanted to do an experiment. I cut 4 pieces. These 3 pieces were the exact same length. This piece was longer. This piece had more resistance. These 3 pieces, no matter how long, how different I pulled them or whatever, had the same resistance. The oven's heat and the wattage all depends on resistance. The best way to calculate all this, you type in on Google, heating element calculator. And you can put in the voltage and say your amps. So say you're running 240 volts and you want to pull 20 amps. You put in 240 and 20 amps and it'll tell you the resistance you need. Now on mine, the big oven is pulling 13 ohms and the small oven is pulling 8 ohms. The small oven needs to get up to about 10 or 11 ohms at least to be at that 20 amp mark. So I'd be comfortable. Doesn't matter how far you stretch these, you know, how tight you want them. Now the thing is, you don't want them like this. You want them with just a little bit of separation. Even like that, just a little bit of separation will be fine. Just as long as they're not touching and shorting each other out. So my suggestion is, when you go on these sites, they'll tell you the amps they pull and all that. Now if you get ones that are really long like this, so say you need like a 10 ohm element, which is what I need on mine. But the ones they sell are 20 ohm or 16 ohm, something like that. What I would do before you pull it, get your hole, say this is, you know, it's going to be 60 inches long. You take both sides and you put your multimeter to ohms and you read it. And whatever, say, comes out 16 ohms. Then I would cut off just a little piece. Take the resistance. Keep cutting just a little bit off until you get the right ohms. Since my friend is putting the 50 amp breaker in my thing, I'm gonna run the two ovens like they are. But these are only rated for like 3,800 watts. And that oven is pulling like 5,500. That's why it's cooking so fast. These elements might burn out in 6 months. They might burn out in 3 months. They might burn out in 2 years. When you run things past their heat point, they burn out real quick. But that means I'll just have to buy new elements and do them right. Now the big oven's fine. Now I wanted to put resistors in it, and I had all these things, but I was so focused on the resistor part, my dyslexia was kicking in, and I was reading these resistors that said 5 ohms, 25 watts. I was reading as 5 ohms, 25 amps. I was mixing up the wattage and the amperage. So adding resistors to a circuit like this isn't possible. It's just pulling too much current, unless you pay like $50 for one of those big, huge resistors, but that's a little bit beyond the scale of what I want to teach. So anyway, I just wanted to put this in here, you know. Make sure you calculate your elements before you build your oven. That's an important part. And that's a part that I missed because all the videos didn't explain elements. They only explained, oh, it depends on how far these are apart or how close they are. Well, the only reason that matters is because when they're this close, they're longer. When they're farther apart, you know, they're shorter. So, of course, you're going to have less resistance when they're farther apart than when they're closer together because you have more wire, not because of the size of the coils. I needed to put that in. Oh, and by the way, 2 days after these showed up, I found the original ones I was looking for and the thermal paste with the screws. This was under my desk, so it must have fallen down and gotten kicked under the desk. I knew it. 2 days after they arrived, they all showed up. So this is thermal paste. Comes in a little syringe. You just put two, just a teeny bit between the solid state relay and the heat sink. If you watch the other videos, you'll understand what I'm talking about. On to the bad welding. Just in case people haven't seen any of my welding or stuff, or like the heat treat oven or anything yet, this is definitely not a welding tutorial. My welding is pretty bad. But I like to do it. I like to get this kind of stuff done. You gotta start somewhere. I was trying to wear my respirator, but I can't find the pancake filters. I do have an air thing right here, so hopefully that'll help. Fun times. I don't know if you can see right here, there was a gap, so I had to cut a little piece and put it in to fill in there, but make sure my helmet's on period. Turn my gas on. The last time I was welding, I left that on, the gas, and it came down to weld the next time and there was no gas at all, so. Let me get this edge done first, then we'll work on the other stuff. So I got the middle pieces cut out, the single pieces. Like I said, this is not a tutorial. You got to cut a little piece out because there was a gap right here. I'm just gonna tack this up and then see where we're at. I used to watch guys like Chucky 2009 and stuff like that. Oh, here's where, we'll put it right here. But Chucky 2009 is now doing a lot of farming stuff. He still does welding here and there, but man, his old videos, man, he has some awesome tutorials on how to TIG weld, stick weld, whatever kind of welding you want. All right, let's lay this first bead. Or blob, I should say. It's not going to be a bead. So the oven's 11.5. I'm making this 12.5. All right, that's better. I turned the gas on earlier, and I guess I turned it back off. 'Cause I was like, man, these welds look horrible. I guess that's what happens when you have no gas. And once again, I had to go take the smoke alarms off. I almost forgot that. They would have been pounding off again. I was going to have this in time lapse, but we'll just go along with it because my welding is horrible. Hey, one weld that actually looks all right. This one doesn't look too bad. Oh man. Ta-da, that's the welding for the base. Let me just bust out the grinder then. Let's get this looking good. Like AV says, a grinder and paint makes me the welder I ain't. Yeah. It is together though. There's a reason I got this. Ta-da! Yeah, man, look at those perfect welds. I'm gonna have to cut this, which I'll just do on the bandsaw. I'll actually cut it back a little bit. And then we'll take this over, put the cow wool on the bottom, put the oven on, and then build from there. Well, my bandsaw didn't go as far as I thought it would, so I might as well show the fun of cutting this out. I just have to remember I came over 4 inches so it doesn't drop on my foot. And it didn't drop on my foot. What do you know? Now, check this out. I got a couple pieces like this for making the jig. This is for like putting magnets on, so I have the big old surface area to slide the jig on. And I got all kinds of projects down here. Put that ragged edge on the back. There we go. Ta-da! just like that. All right, let's go get the heat treat oven on it. It's like 1 a.m. so the rest will have to be done tomorrow or whatever, but at least we got this part done. All right, got the KO wool down. Here it is. I'm just gonna set it on top and then finish the rest tomorrow. Phew, looks like I got a lot of work ahead of me. So I gotta drag the welder out and then cut these and put the KO wool on top and wrap it all around and weld them up and then finally get it wired and use it. Man, when you build something for the first time, you make sure every step is right. But then on your second time, you kind of experiment, and this is what happens when the experiment goes wrong. I think I got the new name for my small oven. We'll just call it Ghetto Fabulous. You can see I had to put metal shims down at the bottom. That's what I was planning on. That's why I made it a 1/2 inch bigger. So the metal, actually there's just pieces of knife steel that were left over, like small pieces. You can see how small that piece is. So yeah, that way the bottom can't kick out. Because these bricks are real soft. You can see how many times I fixed it and it's cracked and given away. So the bottom's held up. When that dries, then we'll just put the top on and seal everything in. Put the KO wool. I got that KO wool. So we got KO wool on the top, KO wool on the bottom. If you've watched my videos in the past, I have a whole bunch of this rope. So I'm putting that in the back. So this thing is just, man, like I said, Ghetto Fabulous. There won't be any heat coming out the back or the sides. But man, we already had it up to 1500 in 2 minutes. But I'm going to have to put a resistor in the wiring and all that. But now I got to let this dry. So that's why the video didn't come up Saturday. Always these little things. But I'm going to get on to some knife making. So hopefully I'll have 2 videos up next week. Alright, little update. I'm doing some kydex and I figured I'd just throw this part in. I got the top almost on and all that. And you see here, here's the gasket. It's like a rope. It's the same thing I had on this oven. But I cut it in half and used it to seal. I'm not going to seal the top to it. I just want to lay the top on and then see how the KO wool lays over. Yeah, man. Boom. All sealed with KO wool. Front and back. Boom. Boom. Now I just have to cut this piece right here and push it down to hold the top down. I put a light in there. I don't know if you can see it, but see the gasket's all the way. Let me pull this out and shine it in there. The gasket, no leaks. You can't see any light. So, boom. Once we get it all welded down, that way I can just cut the welds. Anytime I need to take the top off. And so this is, it's sealed, but it's not secured. So if I ever need to change the elements or anything, boom. All that's left is wiring. Yeah, man. Yeah, check it out. So we got it, put it up to 200 amps, put it on there, clamp down, 31 amps, 30 amps, so too much. But you can see it's cooking, it's getting up there. Now I do have a 50 amp breaker I'm going to have my friend put in the circuit panel, so I could do that. And this one draws like 17 amps. I mean, whoo! Look at that sucker cooking. Yeah, man. Man. I guess with a heavier circuit board, I mean, look. In the 2 minutes I talked to you, we're already up to like 700 degrees. It hasn't even been 2 minutes. And that's with the door out of the way, so. Alright. Let's see, yeah. See, now we're up to 800. Almost to 900. Look at that thing. With no door on it. Yeah, man. Woo! Oh, man. What a day, what a day. So, this thermocouple wire right here landed across one of those wires and blew out this solid state relay, which I come to find out, since I'm not pulling 25 amps, I don't really need it anyway. But yeah, so a bunch of resistors that don't work and blowing relay. Good times. Alright, so I think that's about it. I hope this video helped. I hope if you made it this far, you guys have watched everything. I got a whole playlist for the rest of the wiring, the rest of the builds. And just remember, that's why I want to put this one first in the playlist and all that. The elements, you got to calculate your elements first. Don't just go by the size of the coils. Because a lot of videos mislead you to that. Because believe me, when I built my first oven, I watched every video, read every form, and all this stuff. But a lot of them, they either made it really complicated math, so you don't understand, or they just kind of skipped over that part because they probably didn't know either, and someone told them the same way. And I was almost passing on bad information, so I'm glad I had my ovens messed up, and I'm glad I had to do these experiments, and I'm also glad I know electronics, so I can actually clear it all up. So yeah, just Google the heating element calculator. You put in your voltage, and you put in the amps you need, and it'll spit out what the ohms you need of the resistor. That's all this is. It's a big resistor. So it'll spit out the ohms of this. And then you're good to go. Alright, so thanks for watching. Please like if you like, dislike if you don't. Leave a comment, tell me if you've built an oven or if I'm getting anything wrong. This stuff is kind of new to me too, and if I'm doing it wrong, please help us all. On my website, there's Amazon links, which is up here, and all down in the description. There's a few knives for sale, and I've actually got a few knives I've been working on, but I had to finish up this whole series. But I digress. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Hope you're all having a great day, and as always, take it easy. You type in on Google heat treat. You type in on Google, say you need a 10 ohm. Yeah, say you need like a 10 ohm